Welcome back to the Judgment Infrastructure podcast. In episode 1, we analyze why most podcasts fail. In episode 2, we examine how monetization corrupts authority. In episode 3, we reframe podcasting as a digital twin of your mind. Today we go one layer higher. Today's questions: why do most podcasts remain episodes and never become movement? Let's apply the 2080 rule. Part 1. What most people see. Most creators believe growth requires more downloads, more guests, more social media promotion, more viral clips. They measure expansion by visibility, but visibility is not ecosystem. Visibility is exposure. Ecosystem is structure. Part 2. The critical 20%. Here is the structure 20%. A podcast becomes a movement only when it builds alignment, not audience. Audience listen. Alignment commits. If listener consume passively, your show remain media. If listener adopts your vocabulary and frameworks, you are building a system. System create movement. Part 3. 5 why structural diagnosis. Let's apply why. 5 why. Why 1? Why do most podcasts plateau? Because growth slow. Why 2? Why does growth slow? Because attention becomes fragmented. Why 3? Why does attention fragment? Because there is no structural community layer. Why 4? Why is there no community layer? Because the host treats the podcast as output, not ecosystem. Why 5? Why it is treated as output only? Because the creator never defined a larger infrastructure strategy. That is the root. Part 4. What is a podcast ecosystem? An ecosystem contains core doctrine, repeated vocabulary, structure content archive, community interaction, reinforcement loops. Without reinforcement loops, ideas evaporate. With reinforcement loops, ideas embed. Movement is not emotional hype. It is repeated alignment under structure. Part 5. The 3 layers of ecosystem design. To transform episode into movement, you need 3 layers. First, community layer. Second, leaf reinforcement layer. Third, strategic partnership layer. Let's break them down. First, community layer. Audience is passive. Community is participatory. Community require email list, discussion channel, structure question and answer Q&A, feedback loop, not chaos, structure interaction. If your audience begins to use your language in their thinking, alignment has begun. Second, live reinforcement layer. Digital content builds awareness. Live interaction builds commitment. This does not require massive event. It requires webinar, private workshop, small mastermind session, structured deep dive. When listeners invest time synchronously, engagement density increase. Density increase loyalty. Third, strategic partnership layer. Partnership expand reach, but misaligned partnership dilute positioning. Strategic partnership must reinforce doctrine, align incentive, expand structural visibility. Weak partnership chase exposure. Strong partnership compound authority. Part 6. The 2080 application. The 20% that determine whether a podcast become a movement. Vocabulary consistency. Community infrastructure. Reinforcement frequency. Clear positioning boundary. Not viral episode. Not celebrity guest. Not dramatic growth spike. Consistency build gravity. Gravity build movement. Part 7. Governance lesson. Ask yourself, does my podcast create follower or thinker? If your listener can summarize your framework in one sentence, you have alignment. If they can apply your framework to new situation, you have movement. Movement is application, not applause. Part 8. Alignment versus attention. Attention fluctuates, alignment stabilizes. If downloads drop temporarily but alignment deepens, you are strengthening your infrastructure. If downloads rise but alignment weakens, you are inflating visibility without foundation. Always prioritize alignment over attention. Part 9. Long-term strategic framing. Year 1. Audience recognition. Year 2. Framework adoption. Year 3. Category ownership. But only if structure is consistent. Without structure, year 1 growth, year 2 confusion, and year 3 drift. Movement requires repetition without dilution. Part 10. The discipline rule. To build a movement, repeat your doctrine. Do not apologize for repetition. Repetition builds clarity. Clarity builds trust. Trust builds alignment. Alignment builds movement. Part 11. Practical implementation. If you want to build ecosystem infrastructure, first, build an email list from day 1. Second, send structured episode summaries. Third, invite structured feedback. Fourth, reference previous episode consistently. Fifth, host small, focused live session. Do not scale prematurely. Scale after density form. Closing principle. Most podcasts chase audience size. Few build audience alignment. If you build size without structure, you create volatility. If you build alignment with structure, you create movement. Episodes are output. Movement is infrastructure. Next week, we will analyze risk management and sustainability, avoiding burnout and intellectual drift. Until then, design community before chasing growth. Reinforce doctrine before expanding reach. Build alignment before scaling attention. This is the Judgment Infrastructure Podcast.